What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Run It Up, episode number 204. We are here today playing some 25-cent, 50-cent, no-limit Texas Hold'em on ultimatepoker.com. If you haven't seen yesterday's episode yet, you should go check that out. We were playing this session for about 30 minutes already. We've got some history with people. We've had some ups. We've had some downs. If you're curious as to what's going on, you should go check that out first. At this point, I'm going to assume that you either don't care or, have already caught up. So here we are. I'm in for $50, up $72 right this second. And a whole bunch of players here we played with before. This Dilbert guy has been around actually since Run It Up Season 1. He's a reg. He's a Run It Up reg. He's a veteran over there. He has his twin Fusenstool over here. Don't know much about him. He hasn't really played anything too interestingly. This is a bizarre hand. What is going on here? 4-3 wins it all? Wow. I don't know what the heck happened that hand. He raised, he called, and then he just like bombed it all the way down and got called off by both. It's kind of nuts. All right. Welcome to the episode. Whatever that weird hand was all about there. Gonna play this hand on the button here. I actually think that we could either raise or call, make a tiny raise like this, like 120, whatever it is. I actually kind of like that a little bit better than just calling. This happened last episode as well, where this kind of thing happened. I like raising here because what happens is, very often at least, the small blind and or the big blind end up just folding, and you get heads up against the player who has limped with a hand that's less good than this player's hand, most likely, but we have position, we're risking 120 to win 125. Very often, the players will just fold, and we just win 125, and sometimes you just flop 5 cards in a row. So, having done that on this particular hand, I'm going to start off with a raise because our hand looks like we have aces or kings or something, or at least I'm sure he at least suspects that to be the case. If he has a diamond draw, jack 9, queen jack, none of those hands are folding anyway. I want to just start charging him immediately. Yeah, obviously bet folding there is not what we want to have happen, but he probably wasn't continuing to any raise size, whether it was 3 or 5 or 8, 8 would have been insane, obviously, but he probably wasn't continuing on any of those, and I think that any of the hands that would continue for a raise, so let's say he has a 10, a set, 2 pair, flush draws, straight draws, I feel like we've covered every class of hand or close to it. If he has any of those hands, he's going to either continue or not continue. There's not like a thing where he's like, well, he made it really good price, so I'm going to call with my jack 10. Like, jack 10's probably calling either way, or it isn't either way. There's not really much of a in-between hands. It needs to be, like that? Yeah, nice relaxing breeze of waves of hands. If this whole poker thing doesn't work out, I could just be, you guys that have been around for a while know, that's it. You got set of hands, they move. Look how nice that is. Nice. And anyway, let's go back to the hands here. Unfortunately, not a super exciting hand to get back to, but all right. Something at least we're playing poker here in America. It's a great thing. We gotta help out our brothers. I know there are a lot of you guys out there that are jonesing, wish you could run it up yourselves. If you are running it up yourselves, whether you're doing a run it up challenge online on other sites, on Ultimate or whatever you're doing a run it up challenge on, if you're playing some sort of run it up bankroll challenge series yourself, you should keep track. Tell us, keep track on the run it up forums. Come over to runitup.com, check out the forums there. You can talk about all sort of hands and current events, poker events, UFC stuff, anything you guys want. You can go check it out, the runutup.com forums. Come hang out anytime. And if you're doing a run-up challenge and you want to kind of keep track of your challenge, let people see how you're doing, and watch others as they also try to run up whatever they have to more, you can track all that over on runup.com. Go do it. I would be absolutely shocked if this hand somehow folded through. That's right. I thought I would get through shocked by the time. I thought he was going to tank through the entirety of the word, and I was right about that. I don't know why I was doing that, but that's what I decided to do. So it looks like it is heads up here against Slang 1012. Great avatar name combo. Yo, what up? I'm Slang. And the guy's just is an old man. Sure. Bet. I'm actually not sure what we should do here. He will fold better hands than us sometimes, like pocket deuces. I guess those hands aren't folding now. He will fold some better hands to us, but he's not folding a lot of better hands to us. Like, he's not folding sevens, nines, kings, tens, pocket eights probably aren't even folding. Very happy to call here now, though. We do beat hands like jack 10, 8, 10, queen 10, and now we beat all even more, of course, than that. Now we beat all single pairs except for ace queen, which is good news. So we have the nut one pair that isn't ace queen, second nut one pair. If he bets, I'm probably calling. If he checks, I'm probably betting. If he folds, I don't have to do anything. So I have no decision. Against the check. So what does he have? I mean, I gotta say, our hand looks pretty good. That is a bad news bears for him because we seem like we are relatively strong here. So it's hard for him to call us. So I think betting a lot is bad. I think if he has a hand like a king or a worse ace, those are really the only cases he can call us and we can get paid there. So I feel like if we bet like 10, maybe even like worse aces fold, which is a catastrophe for us, and definitely like king queen is probably not calling either. So I feel like we have to bet like the 6-ish half pot kind of range and just try to like score a solid value bet and not really try to worry about, we're not going to score a home run on that hand. I don't think we're going to be able to stack him or anything like that. As nice as that would be. So I think we could do something aggressive here or could just call on the button. I think both plays are okay. I've been raising in this spot. I've actually stopped calling here for the most part, but I'm going to call here because the spot just seems really good for it. It seems somewhat likely that we're going to go at least four-handed to the flop here. Having to call 1 to win 4 seems like an okay price to me. I feel like I have a pretty big skill edge over every one of these players. Obviously it doesn't really mean anything. But I feel like we can show our profit here. Now, again, how much money, if I get to see a flop, here's a little not fun at all thought experiment for you guys. Let's do this one. How we need to do a graphic for that. The completely not fun thought experiment game. Hooray. Somehow. But let's have a thought experiment game and think about how if we got dealt 7-6 offsuit on the button in 500 different spots. So the thing that's static, the constant, as is that we are on the button with 7-6 offsuit and, like 100 big blinds, something like that. Or this is even more, obviously, but whatever. So we're on the button with 100 big blinds and 7-6 offsuit. In 1,000 different variants of the scenarios. X player opens, X player limps, there are antes, there aren't antes, whatever. I guess actually you shouldn't change the structure. So it's 6 max cash or, whatever the singular format is. We see this spot with 7-6 offsuit 1,000 times. If that's a thing that's happening, how much money are we making on average over those 1,000 times? This is the unfun part of the thought experiment because you're like, fuck you, JCarver. I don't want to learn shit. Well, that's fine. You don't have to if you don't want to. But if you do want to, I'm happy to help you. And I think the answer is like, how much do we make there? Do we make a big blind? Do we make 50 cents? Probably not. Do we make half a big blind? I could see that possible. I'm not really like a super duper math guy either, so it's not like a thing that I'm super, super confident in myself. But I feel like we're probably making like half a big blind in profit over the course of 1,000 hands given that there are players that were mostly weaker than us, given that we have a skill edge, given, no antes. If we have antes, I think we make more money, et cetera, et cetera. So I think you have to think about that. And if you go, well, JCarver, I can't really think about that on my own. I don't really know what that means. It's good to get it's kind of silly how poker works, but you don't really need to know things in poker to be successful. You just have to have like a feel for what the right answer is, right? So even if you're like, well, maybe I make 22 cents or maybe I make 24 cents, how am I supposed to know what the actual answer is? That's true. You don't really have to know. But if you have a general feeling for like, I think I make a profit, as long as you have that general mechanism in your head, also maybe Princess Leia hair, if you have either one of those things, I feel like you'll be able to get better at figuring out where you're at in hands, whether or not you can find profit in certain spots, whether or not, it's just a good mechanic to have your brain get used to it. Just always think in terms of like, am I going to show a profit here in the long run? Are my opponents going to lose more money? Or are my opponents going to lose more money with the hand that I either just lost with or might potentially about to lose with? Or would my opponents make more money than me in this spot? Like, let's say I'm not sure which of these superstars raised pre-flop in this spot, but whoever was the last one to raise pre-flop here, I think it was 150, 150, 250, call, something like that. If I have the hand that the person who made it 250 had in this spot, how much money am I making in that same spot given 1,000 deals in that exact same constant situation? How much money am I making versus them? They're making it 250, doing who knows what post flop, whereas I'm making it 8 or whatever it is. That's a very big edge I have over my opponent in terms of differentials from decision making. In terms of decision making differences. That's right. All right, I've had enough talking fancy smancy poker talk. Let's try to just make some of our cards match. Let's bring it back all the way. Let's bring it back to the other side of things. The guys, the run-it-up fans of you who are just sitting on your boat right now, you've got yourself your own fishing line in the water. Wish you could play online poker, but you just can't. Oh, I'm re-raising this so big. Oh, yeah. Let's make it $12, dealer. $12. That's right. I've got the king and the queen, and they're the same color. They're the same shape. I'd like to win $8. Will you give me all $8? Is that cool? Can I just have $8 from all of you? Is that all right with you? Yep, that's all right. Yeah, I thought it was all right. Thanks though. That's right. That's the JCarver tax right there. It's the JCarver tax. You're all just going to give me $2 this hand. Is that okay? Time charge. It's like a time pot without anybody actually winning. Time pot that goes to me. So, I like raising in spots like this, but I also don't mind calling. And I think in this particular instance, we just re-raised the last hand. They're going to be a little suspicious of our nonsense, and I think they'll be a little bit quicker to fight back. So I think just calling is okay here. I actually really like calling with, it's not PLO, and I've become, PLO has really warmed the cockles of my heart in the last 6 months. So I've really become fond of PLO and thus suited aces, and I think it's fine in Hold'em as well. If we ever flop a flush draw over a flush draw on our opponents, we just put them in the fucking cage, which is awesome. I don't have a cage anymore on set to point to. I changed it. I obviously love the new set that we have here. Hopefully you guys do as well. There's, obviously lots of new cool things, but I didn't want to put a lot of like the old stuff from last year, and I wanted to do new stuff. Let's start new things all around which way, and got to start clean. You can't have all messiness and then you add things later. Just wait till you guys see what's going on next. If the Running Up Season 2 goes anywhere near as I hope it goes, wait till you see Season 3. Oh, boy. Howdy doody. You don't even know. I would like this guy to know what he's going to do with his hand right about now. Decides to call after a deep think. What to do? 9-4 suited. Call. Well, I'm going to call as well on the button with my 9 deuce suited. Hopefully he doesn't have 9-4 suited because that would put me in bad shape. Don't think we're winning this pot. It's just a guess I'm going to give you. 50 cents? I can't call it. Let's see if she just gets it done. Nicki Minaj just goes, I bet 50 cents. I'm not sure who that is. Maybe it's not Nicki Minaj after all. Wow. Raises pot, folds to re-raise. Interesting play. So this dynamic that has kind of developed here is actually not great for us. And by dynamic, I mean when you have the players that have less money on your right, money in poker generally flows from your right to your left, right? So the players that I'm most likely to win money off of at this table are going to be the players to my right, which are basically these 3 players. Most likely this guy, second less likely this guy, third most likely this guy. These 2 players have me covered and have 150 big blinds and are on my left. So they could potentially, they are the ones that are capable of really doing me harm here by putting pressure on pre-flop, putting pressure on post-flop, just generally making my life miserable if they wanted to do that. And they also get to play bigger pots against me because we have position, and I don't get to do that with this guy particularly because he's the shortest stack. So when the deeper stacks have position on you and you have position on the short stacks, that's when I look for times to quit. I mean, not that I'm going to quit in this video because it's a quarter, $half, and I don't give a hoot. But if I was JCarver Value Hunter and I just had my bandana and my sniper rifle or whatever it was that I was doing with my bounty hunting life over here, I definitely would consider quitting this table. Now, I probably wouldn't because the game is great as far as, I think a lot of these guys don't seem like they are making super perfect, sweet Tom Dwan decisions, which is great news for me. But still, the stack sizes aren't great. And I do think the second best player is Dilbert, and he is on my left. So maybe that's wrong. Maybe one of these two guys is the second best player. But I don't think that's so. I think Dilbert is, from what I've seen, seems like the second best player. So having him on my left does kind of suck. We'll have to be a little bit tighter maybe with opens as well. But, to me, a little bit tighter really does mean, like, let's go from, like, 80% of hands to, like, 79% of hands. Like, I don't think you guys have to be too worried about, like, knit mode coming and taking over or anything like that. So I think this hand went $2 from Dilbert. Call. Let's see if we can't try to divine what at least one of these players has here. Let's do like a figure out what they have segment right now. Lean back, the old style lean back. Now that I have this mic, I can do it all the time. I can just slide anywhere. Because now that we're not on the arm, I can just do anything I want to do with my life, really, which is really how I like my life to be, generally speaking. So I feel like Dilbert bet, and then Porterhouse called. So it seems to me like Dilbert has at least a hand like Ace Jack, Ace Queen. King of Hearts seems like a scary card to me, as Porterhouse's most likely hand, if he has a draw, was going to be Hearts. So you would think that Dilbert would check here a good percentage of the time. Scary that he bets. Yeah, it makes sense he has the flush, because you would expect him, if he didn't have a flush, you would expect him to at least consider checking. It's kind of board where I would be a little concerned. And if he is betting, you're like, well, does he have it? Does he have two pair? Does he have a flush? And I don't know. I don't think it tells me what that guy had. Let's see here if it says. I think we're going to just fold this here. I don't mind calling, but I think folding is fine. Does it say? No, it doesn't say. Just 10-8 of hearts. Tough to say, but it did make sense once he bet river that he was pretty strong there. Also got a lead, a pot-sized lead from the small blind. I've had enough of you people. I bet the pot. Get out of here. Nice little stack we have. The 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. If we were playing like ace to 6, some sort of weird deuce to 7 variant or something, we would love our stack size. Call, and now it's all gone. Could raise this as well, but I think calling is a little bit better. He does raise for pot. He is behind with a stack that can just say, F it, I'm all in. All right, we're on our way. Could lead. Something like this could be okay, but I think checking is fine. Let's see how you guys want to do. I'm planning on just calling. I think this is a bad board to check raise because the kind of hands that stick around are hands that have us in pretty bad shape. If he has clubs or sets or trips, trips or pairs, or King Queen has us in terrible shape. So I think just calling here is fine. Obviously, I'm a little concerned drawing here because King of Clubs and the 8 of Clubs are bad for us, and even the regular non-suited versions of those are not great. But I'll take it. I will take it. We'll start with a check. With any luck, one of these two players will put in a bet. Hopefully this fella will just slang it right on in there. I got the 10 and the 12. Well, coincidentally, if he did have the 10-12, he would have the same hands as me. But I'm not really worried about that. I'd like to raise, dealer. $20. Could call, but then what? We're going to call and bet shove river. I'd rather just shove now. If he has a 10 in his hand, he can't fold, or he probably won't fold, so I'm not really worried about that. If he has his beat, I don't care. I'd take your $20. I was right. That was a multi-hand operation we had going on there. We had the claw going on one side and then the bell on the other side. That's right. Run up season 2, man. Wow. The production values just skyrocketed when we had our big meetings, really thinking about like, what are the things that we're going to do that are just going to really blow the minds of all the run-it-up warriors around the world. The top of the list was that I was going to do the claw and the bell at the same time. And when I said it in the meeting, everybody was like, no way. No way. But yeah, I just pulled it off. Executed brilliantly, in my opinion. We have a new contestant on the show today, Planky B. Welcome, Magic 8 Ball over there. Looking great. Everybody loves Magic 8 Ball. Magic 8 Ball was the luxury item of friend of the show, Rob Sesternino, 2-time Survivor player. Went on Survivor Amazon, Survivor All-Stars. He brought his Magic 8 Ball with him to Survivor Amazon. That was how he was, that was his luxury item. I guess that was like one of his little gimmicks or something. True story. Friend of the show. Actually planning on doing a bunch of cool stuff with Rob this fall. If you're a Survivor fan or mostly a Survivor, I think is our plan for now. But we have some really cool plans for content later this year, September, October, stuff like that. So if you're a fan of Survivor and or Rob Sesternino and or me, I've got good news for you. I'm actually planning on just calling here, or at least I was, because I think if we re-raise, he calls, God, we don't want to play a huge pot here. This is kind of like what I meant, but I think I actually kind of like raising because this guy is in the pot. I think, actually, maybe I actually think I made it too big here. I actually think I made it too big. I should have made it like 1250 or 1350 instead of 1550, but okay, I guess whatever. I guess if he has this beat, he has this beat. There's almost no chance he has pocket fours and would play it this way. I mean, I guess it's possible, but also if he had aces or kings, I think he also wouldn't play it this way. I actually think I'm going to check. How do you guys feel about checking here? Is checking too dastardly? All right, no, I'm going to go with it. I mean, what do I have? I have pocket queens or pocket jacks. Just check. And now I'm going to call because why would I raise? I just have pocket jacks or pocket queens. I just call. Turn as a club, I don't care. I have king, I flush draw. There's really nothing that can come that's going to scare me. Check. I'll point out that he has an exact pot size bet behind. If he has this beat somehow, which would be like mind-blowing to me if he has this beat somehow, right this moment at least. All right, fair enough. Fair enough. I was like, if he somehow has this beat here, it would blow my mind. He'd have to have like aces or kings, just flat call pre-flop. I mean, the flop would have to have come out perfect, and then I would have to have checked. It would have been absolutely nuts if we somehow had lost that pot. But I was like, I think we played the hand perfectly. Given that obviously he had the same hand as us, so it didn't really matter what we did. But if he didn't have the same hand as us, I think it's very unlikely that he has better hands than us. And once in a while, he gets pot stuck there. If he has ace queen, ace jack, he makes some sort of mistake and puts money in the pot. Or sometimes he just has like queen jack or queen 10 or jack 10 and just has a gut shot and tries to bluff or something like that. So I tried to give him the maximum amount of opportunities to put money in the pot behind. I think if we had played that hand much differently, we would have ended up in a spot where we were going to drive away all those hands that we had beat, and we would just end up with him having hands that beat us or tie us. So I feel like we did our best to try to lay out the old tarps to catch him. The old we put the cupcake in the bear trap, and tried, but unfortunately he had the same hands as us. So I like how I played that hand though. We played a 500 big blind pot today. What did you guys do? That's right. In case you're curious, hey JCarvers, what's the words on the side of your t-shirt there? Well, it's difficult. Difficult operation in progress. It says Team Run It Up 2014. That's what it says. Team Run It Up 2014. So that the world knows that not only do you wear a Run It Up t-shirt, but that you're also Team Run It Up 2014. I had these made for the World Series for anybody who was playing out here during the summer, but I didn't give away enough of them, so I still have plenty more for the rest of the year. So if you want to get yourself a Team Run It Up t-shirt, runitup.com/store. You can go get yourself a Run It Up shirt, some posters, all sorts of amazing things that I don't even really know how it works. I'm just, you just somehow send me money and I send you an item. It's great. And I make negative money every time you buy one. So go buy one right now. That's right. I'm not trying to make money off of selling t-shirts here, okay? But t-shirts are expensive. I've had to learn so much. You guys just wait. I've had a year. Think about how much better I'll be in 6 months as far as like general competency of understanding like merchandise and t-shirts and things like that. There's a lot of things going on I have to learn. Uncle Lorenzo has a very high ask of me, There's a lot of things that we've got to juggle here, trying to run it up and make Ultimate Poker work and all sorts of business things. And I've got a mannequin that needs tending to. My life is really hard. Nah, that ain't me. I'm very appreciative. None of you have to worry about that. I would be very appreciative if this guy would act anytime this decade. That would be awesome. If I had my way, if I was lord of the poker universe, you want to hear what I would do? First thing I would do is that nobody would get to take nearly as long as that guy just took to time out. No. There would be like 15 seconds maximum on every decision that isn't major. And then you get like tokens that let you give you like 30-second extensions that you can use like 1 per hour or something like that. Let's just move on. Let's get to the next hand. Move on. Obviously, there are plenty of times where you need decision time. You have to think about it. You're playing for $1 trillion. There's 800 big blinds in the pot. There's plenty of times that warrant longer than minute-long tanks. And I've taken plenty of them in my time. But, for the most part, come on. Let's get a move on. That's the first thing I would do. The second thing that I would do if I was king of the poker universe is that, except for emergency situations, and I mean poker emergencies, like you have too many people and you have no other choice, I would abolish 9 and 10-handed poker. Abolished. That's right. Abolished. Gone forever. It would be 8-handed maximum unless of efficiency or personnel issues. So you have too many people, you got to make it 10-handed. I understand. You have to make it 9-handed today because yesterday you had too many people and you're playing a tournament and you got to make it 9-handed for whatever reason. Okay, I get it. But as soon as it's convenient, if I was Lord Protector of the realm of poker, I would make it very clear that 8-handed is the only way to play poker. It's the best way. Not the only way to play poker, but it's the best default if you're going to have it. 9-handed is just a little bit too slow. It's a little too, everything. 9-handed is a fine form of poker. I've played probably more 9-handed than anything else. Maybe it's close to 6-handed online, but not even 8-handed is significantly better than 9-handed in my opinion. More room, you're supposed to play more hands. Average hand strength is a little bit lower. It encourages you just to play more pots. The game is just faster, getting more hands per hour. To me, 8-handed is much more. It's a very silly little thing to remove, but the general quality of life I feel like is vastly improved. And then obviously 6-handed is better than that, but I understand you can't have 6-handed tables by default. But in my opinion, 8-handed is the way of the future. Well, PLO is the way of the future, but if you're going to play tournaments, I think 8-handed is the way that when we should go. Also, it's actually even better for the poker rooms also because they go, well, if we leave it 9-handed or 10-handed, we get to use like more players per deal. The player per dealer ratio is better, but in truth, players bust faster from 8-handed than from 9 or 10-handed. So you maybe actually use less dealer time. I'm less sure about that as a theory, but I feel like that's probably true, or it's at least close. So it's like comparative. At that point, once you have like table numbers, like number of tables isn't an obstacle rather. At that point, it just makes sense. So we're currently up $116.66 because I'm in for a flat 50 for this session. So we're actually almost at $960 for the bankroll. That's pretty cool. Also pretty cool, going to do this little thing here we did earlier today. Going to make it 175, not 1 1/4. I actually feel like there's a decent chance that we're going to get 1 or 2 folds out of the blinds. And maybe even both of those, but only one decides to fold. Interesting flop here, flopping middle pair. I'm going to bet this. I feel like we're going to bet this for value and protection. I think that he is going to fold hands like King Jack, Jack 9, hands that are only going to continue if they improve further. I want him to fold those hands right now. He's going to call us with hands that are worse. He's going to call us with like 7-8, which is only flipping really. He's going to call us with hands that are like flush draws maybe, some ace highs, some pocket pairs. Obviously, he can also call us with hands that beat us, but I'm not worried about that. Don't be so negative, But JCarver, what about all the hands that beat us? To that I say, what are you worried about? Stop y'all worrying. That's what I say. Whatever. Those are so rare. We have second pair queen kicker. We were beaten so rarely. The guy limped behind another player. If he had anything, we would have heard about it already. Right? He certainly can have a 10, don't get me wrong, but, that doesn't happen too often. This has been a fun session. I don't know how much I've actually won this session. I think I've won like $30 or $40 this episode. Obviously, the session itself has lasted 2 episodes, and I think it'll probably last 1 more. So we'll probably do a 3-episode session segment for this session. 3-episode segment for this session. So I'll play one more hand here. We'll wrap this episode up. When we get back tomorrow, we'll kick it off in probably the small blind, because it takes me 1 hand to reset. Probably the small blind of the session. We'll wrap it up. Hopefully, with any luck, with decent luck, we'll be able to get ourselves over 1K. How cool would that be? 3 episodes or 4, actually this is 4 episodes, right? So 5 episodes in, we could spin ourselves right back up to the 1K mark. That would be sweet beans. That's right. For those of you that have been around for a long time, you know, there are sad beans. We have plenty of sad beans in our life, but, you know, sweet beans are the ones that we really look forward to. Over to the under the gun we go. Last hand of the night. All right, I make a loose raise for the fans. 1 last hand before we hit the road. Let's see if we can't win at least 75 cents more. Oh, yeah. Boom. Ending on a heater, boys. Anyway, if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to go subscribe if you haven't already. Check me out on Facebook, facebook.com/JCarverPoker, twitter.com/JasonSomerville, runitup.com for all of your run-it-up needs, loves, desires. Don't forget to check out the run-it-up forums if you haven't already. If you want to get better at poker, you want to learn more, see what's going on, help your friends, all that stuff, it's all there. Don't forget about the store. You can get posters and t-shirts and all sorts of other cool things. runitup.com/store. And I feel like I've hoarded myself out enough for now. We skipped the big blind. So as of tomorrow, we will conclude this session. Starting on the button, we will see if we can't end in 4-figure territory. Thanks so much for watching as always, guys. I really appreciate it. I will see you back for more tomorrow. Peace. That was pretty good. Pretty good. Sometimes you get dealt the 5-10 of spades and you just have to say, no thank you. You know, if you want to become that, you know, full-grown velociraptor, which this is what this is, by the way. Yeah, definitely velociraptor in there, yeah, for sure. I mean, that's clear. I don't know what else it could be. I mean, am I an alien? You guys didn't have faith in the 9-4 suited play, but I had never doubted. I never wavered. I was unwavering. Please let me in. I won't eat very much. I just need a turkey burger.